95 of the Pittsburgh Nerd Podcast. I'm Sean.
I'm Nancy, and this is the only podcast that says...
Somebody gave me this telephone. I think it was Edie. Yeah, it was Edie. She said I could talk to God with it, but I don't have anything to say. So here, this is for you. Now you can talk to God.
Wait, you said that's funny.
Yeah.
What I had said. So
Yeah.
That sounds familiar.
It should, yes.
Okay.
It's from The Doors.
I was gonna say The Doors because
Yeah.
I'm singing The Doors.
You're
so
singing
it has
The Doors,
something
yeah.
to do with Doors, and you're like, that's funny.
That's funny. Yeah, because, well, I mean, that was actually from, that was Andy Warhol. When he was
okay.
he was when he met Jim, he gave him the phone, and then Jim threw it away.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is funny that I was singing that right before you.
Yeah, because you never sing The Doors.
I know, but I was listening to Spotify
Yeah.
yesterday, and it ran through the list I had,
Right.
and then it just starts playing like music. Black Sabbath was on, so
Wow.
it was starting to play music
Right.
associated with old Black Sabbath.
Yeah.
And what was the Doors song that came on? And then I've had the Doors in my head ever since.
Well, Friday I watched the movie.
Oh, okay, all right.
That's
yeah.
why
Okay.
I came up with that. Because I haven't watched that movie in forever.
Me either. Yeah.
And so it was like one of those things, like I saw it was on, I'm like, oh, well, I'm just going to watch this.
Yeah.
And,
Val Kilmer does a really good job as him.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's that odd thing of like the members of the Doors like disavow that movie, even though I think Densmore like helped with it. But they say it portrays Jim as like a psychopath, and I'm like, wasn't he really kind of a psychopath though?
Wasn't he?
Like,
Yeah.
are you just protecting his legacy?
I don't know. He had a little smidgen of psychopath.
Yeah, I mean, like that.
I mean, just if you watch footage, like rare footage, if you can find any, dude was a little out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, but he could write music, man.
But it was like that thing.
He had a
of-
good voice too.
He did an amazing
Yeah,
voice.
that's why, like, every now and then I like to listen to it because I really liked his voice.
Right. But it's like that thing of like, I went through a Doors phase. I went through a Morrison phase where I felt like Morrison was a genius, and maybe in a way he was. But like I read books of the books of poetry. Like, I had a couple of Doors albums. I went to go see the Doors opening weekend. Like I read No One Here Gets Out Alive. Like I went through like a real Doors phase. Like, and
That's pretty deep into the Doors.
it was. I was really deep into the Doors.
That's a well you went into.
I did. Like
A
it was.
bottomless well.
It was a real phase. To the point. This is a funny story. So me and this buddy, when I was a volunteer fireman, I had this buddy, and I'm not gonna mention his name in case people know him who live around here. But he hooked up with this girl at a fireman's fair. And he's like, I want to go back. You want to come with me? I'm like, I don't want to go. He's like, I'll buy you beer. I'm like, okay, I'm in.
Oh wow, you're cheap and easy.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I was broke and I wanted to drink,
Wow.
and he was offering beer, so I was going to take it no matter where I ended up hanging out. Like, you want to go have sex with the girl? I don't care as long as I'm drinking.
Yeah, you supplying the beer?
Yeah. Well, we get there, and he ends up hooking up with her mother.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And, like, I was, like, full-blown. I was wearing black jeans, a black T-shirt. I hadn't had my hair cut in, like, 3 years. So, like, I had, like, hair down in my face. It came down to my chin. And I'm wearing sunglasses, cracking beers. And this girl who he was supposed to be hooking up with, while I'm watching The Doors, by the way, which is how this all connects.
Okay.
So I'm watching The Doors. Like, I crack open a beer, and I'm shotgunning it down, and she's just like, you are so fucking cool. I just looked at... Yeah.
What was she on?
Oh, I don't know. But I just looked at her like, you don't know fucking shit. And just kept drinking my beer. I could have hooked up with her and had no intention to.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah. But I was like, you're right, I am so fucking cool. In my head. But like to play it off, like to be like Uber, like to be Jim. I was like, you don't know shit.
You actually said that to her.
Yeah. And she's just looking at me like, what? And I'm just like, fucking kids.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Wow. That's bad.
Yeah.
That is so bad.
It was. So, but yeah, I watched the movie. It's been forever since I watched that movie. I mean, I'm gonna say it's been 20 years since I've seen that movie.
Yeah.
And I'm watching it, and I was just like, back when I did watch it, like I was still kind of in that Jim's a genius. Like I said, it had to have been the 90s the last time I watched it. And so I'm watching it, I'm like, he really wasn't a genius. He was just an asshole.
Yeah.
Like,
I would have never called him a genius, but I was like, whatever.
Oh, I thought he...
I let you go with it.
Yeah. I mean, I thought he was. I mean, at that time, I was like, oh, listen to these lyrics. He was so fucking far ahead.
Because then he would go into those fucking spouts.
Right.
And saying nothing, and you're like, what the hell? I honestly believe that's where that dude from Puddle of Mud fucking got, ideas from to do that shit. Watching him...
Well, that was the guy from Creed.
No, the guy from Puddle of Mud would do it on stage.
Right, I know, but that was the lead singer of Creed was he moved to the same hometown as that Morrison had in Florida and everything.
Yeah.
And he was a wackadoo. But
you were the one that listened to Creed.
Well, I'm not denying the dude's a wackadoo.
I don't know if I hear that song ever again.
I just liked his music.
My God.
Much like Morrison, But then you're right. You go, I am the Lizard King. I can do anything. You're just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's not genius.
Yeah, that's just being high.
High and a very big ego.
Yeah.
That's not what the people want, Jim. That's not what the people wanted. Not in all. Yeah, but it's good to go back and listen to some of their music because it was good songwriting. I'm not going to take that away from them.
Light My Fire, L.A. Woman.
People are people. Not people. Yeah,
people are strange.
God. See, I have them on my mind too. I don't know why. I was listening to that in my shoes. I heard In My Shoes, and I have them in my head now. So sorry.
This is the end.
I'm still trying to think of the song I heard yesterday that was making me think of them.
Yeah. It's I can't remember what the name of the song is. 5 and 1, baby. 1 and 5. No one here gets out alive. The lyrics are masterful. I'm like, this is fucking genius. No, he was just high. He was really fucking high.
He was high and rhyming.
Yeah.
That's what he was doing. Oh, that sounds good. Good. Yeah. And what was the chick's name?
Well, there was two. There was...
Wait, no. The one that Meg Ryan played. Because that's one role I really like her in. Because she gets on your nerves after a while.
She was Pamela. Pamela Corson, I think was her name.
Did she play Pamela? Okay.
Yeah.
See, that's how long it's been since I've seen it. It was a movie I wanted to see in a theater and I never got a chance. So as soon as it came out, I was like, I need to rent this.
It was a movie. It came out in 91. And I remember when I went to go see it, I took my then girlfriend at the time. My first girlfriend. And we're watching the movie, and there's that scene when Jim meets Patricia, the witch. Mm-hmm. And they're having that whole thing where they're running around naked and stuff, and she's covering my eyes, and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? I'm a grown ass man.
She's covering your eyes.
Yeah.
What the fuck would it?
Like this childish, I'm a 12-year-old. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong wrong with you? She got up and left.
I would have been like, you want me to take a picture for you so you can check it out later?
Like, she got up and left the movie theater. And, like, I'm there with, like, me and
Wow.
her and some friends. And they're like, are you going to go after? I'm like, no, I paid money to see this fucking movie.
That's you. That's fucking you. That would have been me too, though.
This is Jim fucking Morrison.
Yeah,
You
go
know,
after her.
I'm not going after her.
Did she come back?
No, she didn't.
How much of the movie did she miss? I can't remember exactly along the line where that's at.
More than half.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Where the hell did she go?
She went outside. We found her walking down the road.
I'm sorry, I don't mean, but who the fuck does that?
I don't know. Like, I was, like, so annoyed with, like, why are you covering my eyes? Like, what, you don't want me to see female nudity?
Yeah, I would have been comparing it with you. I'd have been like, you like that? You know?
But
Does that do it for you?
But then for her to, like, get up and leave, because I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? And she just, like, copped an attitude and got up and left, and, like, I guess she expected me to come after her, and I ain't doing that shit.
I ain't doing that shit. You on your own, woman.
The funny thing is, she lived in North Versailles, and we were in West Mifflin.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, we went to go see the movie at Southland.
Oh, what road was she walking down?
We found her, like, she was, like, up by the mall. Like, I'm sure she, like, stood around for a while, like, waiting for me to come on. Waiting for me to come chasing after, like, oh no, what are you doing?
If you weren't behind me before I got out the front doors, I knew you weren't coming after me.
Right.
But I wouldn't have done that.
Right. So it was like this thing of, like, I'm sure she, like, stood around for a while, like, oh, he'll come out here any second and he'll apologize to me and it'll be, and I'm not that guy.
No.
I pick him when I see this fucking movie.
No,
Movie I really wanted to see.
You've never been that guy.
No. So
I can verify that even when we were dating.
Yeah.
No. Sean don't care. You have your little meltdown. I'll catch up with you later.
Yeah.
That's Sean.
I ain't got time for your fucking meltdown.
He gives less than zero. You're negative 0 fucks.
Yeah, so.
But that works for you.
Yeah.
So. Well, you eventually caught up to her. So, what was she walking down Lebanon Church Road, or
No,
I'm sorry, Lebanon?
No, we found her up by the mall.
Oh, Century 3.
Yeah.
That's when it was still open and shit.
Oh yeah, I mean it was 91. Yeah, it was thriving.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't.
It wasn't falling apart yet.
What?
It wasn't even falling apart yet.
Oh, okay. Well, I wasn't actually living in Allegheny County in 91.
You were still been 91. You were still been in Florida, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I didn't,
Yeah.
wasn't sure how thriving
Yeah.
this area was. Yeah. So that's funny though. I'm sorry, your stories are funny. That's one thing about you, Sean. You have some good stories.
Occasionally. Sometimes it's like,
Nah, you do. You have good stories. Like I have good stories, but I can't tell her. I forget shit and I'll go back and I'll ruin it. There's no such thing as a punchline with me in a joke. I tell terrible jokes, and I'll admit it. I suck at it.
Yeah.
So, don't want to hear any of my childhood stories.
I'm a storyteller. What can I? That's why I have a world-renowned podcast.
Yes. I'm sorry. You're a world famous
podcaster.
Yeah. That's what you tell everybody.
Yeah. Well, when they ask, or if I just want to bring up a conversation.
And when you feel like bragging a little.
Yeah. My podcast has a grand total of 100 listeners, but I'm world famous. Huge in France.
You know what? You could always embellish and just add a 0. Nobody will notice. Oh. a little under a grand.
Yeah.
That's what you can say.
Just enough that nobody will actually sponsor us.
Right, yeah, just a little under a grand. It don't matter how you're saying it's under a grand.
Yeah.
100's under a grand.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm surprised that many people listen.
100?
Yeah. Because people don't... I mean, I know people that listen to podcasts, but nothing like this.
Yeah.
There's one I know listens to the sport podcast. He works with me. And then most of them listen to that stuff like my sister and I listen to
Yeah,
on the
like
way
the
down
true
to Florida.
crime podcasts
you
and
know,
stuff
they
that-
like that kind of stuff.
Right.
Or they're the reality show people.
Yeah.
You know, because there's a few of them at work. But for the most part, I don't really know, like, where they delve down into, like, where I was listening to, what was that, Ray Burr's podcast for a little bit.
Yeah.
You know? So, I don't know.
Well, I mean, I feel like there's always going to be, like, for the true independent podcaster, like me, like our good friend Stork with Episodic Geek, like our friends in Cincinnati with History of Bad Ideas, like there's always going to be a group that searches out stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, the problem is, in all honesty, like, I mean, clearly, like, you know, money helps.
Right.
You know, like Kevin Smith is technically an independent podcaster, but he's Kevin Smith.
Right.
You know, same thing with Joe Rogan. Like, he's independent, but yet
Right.
at the same time, because of his name, because of his following, he's able to have a podcast that starts off with 1 million listens.
Right, but my question is these people that get paid for this, where does the money come from?
Well, it comes from a number of places. I mean, a lot of times sponsorship.
You're talking sponsorship like the NFL has Nike and shit sponsoring them.
Well, yeah, like, you know, I mean, I don't know what the number is now. It used to be, when I first got into this, they used to say, if you could average 5,000 downloads a week, that would be enough to get you, like, some sort of sponsorship. And there's always been, like, Amazon used to do it. Blue Apron was a big one. There were a few others that were, like, known enough that, like, you know, so you would, like, they'd pay you, and you have to, like, cut a promo every show
Right, and
about the product.
The One True Crime, they have a sponsorship and they have to do a commercial so much into that podcast.
Right, and you
in
have
the beginning, in the middle, and the end, and shit like
right,
that.
and you do, like, you know, if you use promo code PNerd,
Yeah.
you'll get X amount off.
Right,
and
right.
of course, every time you use a promo code, I get a kickback.
Right,
you know?
right.
There's shit like that, but, like, we've never been big enough. The closest I ever came to getting a paid sponsorship was there's a podcast I listened to called I think something Encounter. I can't remember because I haven't done a podcast in a while. But it was like a D&D like adventure, like where they
right.
but it was all like people who like did like acting.
Okay.
And instead of it being like, because a lot of those like podcasts like with like Dungeons and Dragons based, all they do is they set up like microphones around a table and they record the entire session. So it's like 4 hours and you get all the bullshit that's included.
Oh.
This show actually took like, what they would do is they would get together for a week to complete a story.
Whoa.
And then what they would do is they would take that and they would edit it up to tell the story.
Oh.
So it would be like 10 episodes would be like one season
Right.
and a full adventure.
Right.
And it was like really, really well done.
Yeah.
And they were doing their second or third season. They reached out to me because I was always like promoting them. I'd like, you know, retweet their stuff all the time.
Right.
And I had taught, like, they had listened to us too. Like the one guy had listened to us. That's how I kind of got involved with them.
Right.
And the Ned was his name. And he reached out to me and was like, you know, would you be interested in, you know, sponsorship? You know, having a sponsor you. We have some money we'd like to, you know, use with other independent podcasts. And I was honest with them. I'm like, you know, here are my numbers. I'm telling you now, we're too small.
Yeah.
Like, we're just too small.
Yeah.
Like, I appreciate you thinking of me.
Yeah.
But that's just the reality.
Right.
You know, and I'm not expecting you to come back with any money.
Right.
Like, if you wanted to give me money, like, if you gave me, like, X amount to cover my costs for a year,
Yeah.
I would be phenomenal. Like I'm lowballing. Like,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I'm
Way
like,
less than what he's. Yeah.
like $20 a month for 12 months would be amazing.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's something I was looking for. And like they were like, yeah, no, we're not interested. But you know, I get it. Like,
Yeah.
we're too tiny.
Yeah.
You know, but it's
But
like,
it was nice that they listened to you.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where like as the independent guy, it's a harder road to hoe.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just, it's one of those things that like, how do you get somebody's attention? Like and it's like weird because like I look at some of our episodes, and they constantly get hits. Mm-hmm. Like there are certain, like I have to go through at some point here, and I need to start deleting some episodes because of the space we have to on with our I can't remember what they're called now, but with with Spreaker,
right,
the host, our podcast host,
right. Yes, I was just gonna say that.
Yeah,
host.
With the $20 a month I spend, I only get so much storage space.
Could you spend more and get more?
I could.
I'm not asking you. I'm just asking
Yeah.
if it was possible.
Right. I mean, I could. I just don't want to spend more than $20.
Right.
So I'm reaching a point where I'm like, okay, I gotta start looking back and maybe deleting some episodes. But there are some episodes like because they keep getting like I don't know if it's just one of those things where like underground.
Yeah.
It's like you need to hear these fuckers talk about fucking Yeti erotica.
Right. And and that's the episode they listen to, and that's it.
That's it. Yeah.
Right.
Like. So it's stuff like
so
that.
I'm sure every episode I've been on is like way at the bottom. just delete those. I'm okay with it. I understand.
So there are some episodes like I kind of like I want to keep up because like they keep like I look and like I'll look at like monthly like okay well what's our listeners what episodes are being listened to because they give me a breakdown of like the per episode.
I would like to see that someday. That would be interesting for me to see.
And like every month, like there's like 2 or 3 episodes that are always like 4 listens a month, 3 listens, like, and it's like from like 2018.
Oh wow!
You know, but like I said, it's like it's about like Yeti erotica.
Right.
Like there were 2 episodes where we went down a rabbit hole of Yeti erotica that were just mind numbing.
Knowing you and Ian, I believe that. I believe it. I don't need to listen, but those would be the 2 I skip. So what's the titles? Because one had to be Yeti erotica.
One was actually titled Yeti erotica.
Yeah.
And I can't remember what the other one was titled. But I see it, I know it because it's like, oh yeah, it's the one we talked. We brought Otter on to talk Game of Thrones.
Oh.
And we ended up going down this Yeti erotica rabbit hole. Wow. And then the next week, I did more research on the guy who was writing the Yeti erotica. Found even more. Dr. Chuck Tingle, for those who are wondering. A name that will stick with me forever.
What the fuck? Is that really his name?
I'm assuming it's a pseudonym.
God, I hope so.
But yeah, he wrote...
Because if so, I understand why he writes Yeti erotica the way he was teased as a child.
Yes. It's like, you know... A Tyrannosaurus Rex took my virginity.
Oh my
God. It's stuff like that. It's like, and you're like, you know, what? And, and not only is it like Yeti erotica, but it's homosexual Yeti erotica. So it's like male Yeti on man action. I mean, it's like ridiculous. Like,
that's all I need to hear about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's like crazy. Like and it's like you could like. Read it for free on Amazon and stuff. You know, it's like, what the fuck?
God.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the same as them. I remember you and I did a podcast. I don't know if it was for you or we were doing like a test one for the one I was trying to do. Remember we were talking about people that have sex with horses?
Oh, yeah.
And how they would like describe it and shit?
Yeah.
That's what that sounds like.
Yeah, that was another rabbit hole me and Ian went down once.
You and I went down that rabbit hole, but I don't know if you were just trying it. I can't remember. But you and I had a podcast about that.
Yeah, because there was one time I found like a documentary on like YouTube.
Yeah, you were showing YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, I think me and Ian talked about it first, and I can't remember. But I mean, yeah, that was
Yeah, so that's what this Yeti erotica thing.
Yeah,
but I don't need to know any more about Yeti erotica.
Yeah. So it's like oddball stuff that like you look at and you say, well, wow, that seems to work, but like, you know, it's not enough to like make somebody listen.
All right. Well, I have another question.
Okay.
Anybody that you shout out, Besotted Geek. What's the other one you just said? I'm sorry.
History About Ideas.
Yes, History About Ideas. I like that name, so why can't I remember it? I do. I like the name of that podcast for some reason. Do they get any sponsorships?
History About Ideas does. They have a sponsorship with the Cincinnati Comic Con.
Oh, interesting.
And they like every year they do like they do a deal with the Cincinnati Comic Con where they actually like they have a table at the con and they host a lot of the panels.
Okay.
So like Jason, the Jason Brigger, the main host, like he was doing the Q&A with Christopher Lloyd.
Oh no shit.
With like at the con this year.
Was he grumbling about the hot dogs?
I don't know. That was the best. I wanted to say something to Brigger, but I thought, no, he's not going to bring that up.
Have you ever told your listeners what?
I think I did, but when we went to the Steel City Con a few months ago, Siniski get Darby Allin's autograph.
Oh, Darby Allin. He is adorable. Adorable person.
We've named a cat after.
Yes. Darby Allin is a true gentleman.
Yes.
Yes.
But we were standing in line, and I went to go get us a couple of waters.
2.5 freaking hours I stood in line for him.
Yeah, because we got there, and he didn't show up on time, and then he had to go and get the professional photos done. And
I was okay with that. I would have waited longer for him.
So at one point, I'm like, I needed to walk around because my leg was going numb.
Yes.
And 2, I was actually thirsty. I'm like, see, you want a water? She's like, yeah, sure. So.
Oh, I wasn't moving.
Yeah, you weren't moving.
No.
But so I go and I get the water, and I'm standing in line for the concession stand, and the security's coming through, and they're like, make a hole, make a hole, make a hole. And they're coming through, and it's
Christopher Lloyd.
And as he's walking past, he's like, what's for lunch today? We having the hot dogs? So, like, it was just like this odd thing. Of all the things that are like Christopher Lloyd to be walking past, I get to hear him asking about what his lunch order is. Like,
that's so fucking awesome.
Marty, I'm in the mood for a hot dog.
I'm so sad I missed that.
It was just like...
He's a national fucking treasure, I'm telling you.
And
that's what baffles me about that Comic-Con. Christopher Lloyd sitting out in the open, just like Darby Allin. But you got Chevy Chase and Robert Englund back there. And Sting.
Yeah.
Hidden.
In a private room.
I am not demeaning anything about them. I love all three of them. Freddy Krueger is my fucking hero in horror movies, but you got Christopher Lloyd out there too. Dude is a national treasure. Why is he not back here with them?
And I mean, in all honesty, like, they did a really good job. Like, they had like his area like sectioned off, and they had like a Kennywood line going to get to him.
Yes.
I think they did the same thing with Christina Ricci.
Yes.
Because they were on opposite ends.
Right.
He had his kind of cordoned off in
right.
the Kennywood line, and she had a Kennywood line as well.
Right.
Or, for those who don't know what I mean, like, you know, a ride to get on an amusement park, a line to get on an amusement park line. You know, like a Disney line.
Ours wasn't like that.
No.
We just had it coming out and down, and then they had to create the line ourselves.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Like
because they kept asking, what are you in line for? What are you in line for? They didn't know what the lines were because there wasn't no sections like they had sections.
Like the Seagull Darby Allin, and even on the other side, fucking John Barenthal.
Yes, he was right across. And then there was Anthony Michael Hall.
Like they didn't have like sectioned off line areas. It was just kind of like it was supposed to be like a walk up, and they were busy as well.
I can't believe Jay Barenthal. I can't.
John Barenthal.
John Barenthal. Jay. Why did I call him Jay? John. Yeah. I was on, and I mean, where I was standing in line, and the pictures I got, they're not even Zoom. Yeah. That's how close he was.
Yeah.
And I'm standing there thinking, how is this dude, like, he is so fucking famous. Like, as I'm standing there waiting for Darby Allin.
Yeah.
Like, and you know me, I get super starstruck.
Right.
Like, I freeze. I'm a deer in the headlights. I want to pass out and puke. when I'm close to celebrities that
Which
I adore.
damn near happened.
Yeah, yes, it was terrible. So, anyways, as I'm standing there and they start coming out while we're waiting, I'm like, that's the dude that played Shane on The Walking Dead right there, right fucking there. If I walked 10 steps, I could have fucking touched him. Yeah. That's how fucking close I was to this famous person.
Yeah.
And then there's Anthony Michael Hall. I had him on fucking posters in my room because I loved him as the geek. I always was in love with that man. I got the Dead Zone poster upstairs. Just right there. Right fucking there. Like, it in my mind cannot wrap around.
Yeah.
And then what did I say to you when we were next in line ready to go up to meet Darby?
I don't remember.
I turned to you and I said, I can't do this.
Yeah.
I cannot do this. Because I was so starstruck over Mr. Barthenol and Anthony Michael Hall. I could not. And that's when that panic attack shit started. I just started. What did I say to Darby?
Absolutely
nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. And he spoke to me.
Yeah.
And
twice.
I mouthed thank you at the end, but the words could not fucking come out because that's when my world just started. It was
if you
overload.
If you could see the picture of Nancy with Darby Allin, she is
awful.
as glazed over as you could possibly be.
Yeah, it was terrible. Because I was going to go from Darby Allin and go and get in the Anthony Michael Hall's line. Yeah. That's what I was doing. But there was absolutely no way I could have done that.
No, there wasn't. There's none.
No, my world closed that. But that's all that. Because when I got in line, I'm watching his table. I am not paying attention to anything beside me, behind me.
Yeah.
I am focusing on his table.
Yeah.
And when he came out, he actually walked in front of the people that I was standing behind.
Right, I remember I was right there, yeah.
Yeah, because somebody behind us goes, I love you, Darby Allin, and he turned around right there in front of me and was like, I know. you know? And he kept walking. I was like, oh my God, is that so adorable? Because he's Darby fucking Allin. And then I never fucking stopped watching him. So even when you were like, we got to go get something for him to sign, and I got close enough where I saw they had pictures, remember? Yeah. So that was the only time I was a little panicky because you were not going to be there when I got to the front, and that would have fucking killed me. So anyways, when we were leaving, when I actually was like, thank you, like I looked right at him and was like, thank you. I just mouthed it, and he shook his head yes, you know, because he's just so gosh darn adorable. I turned around, and when I saw all those people that were like, there was like 10,000 times more people behind than when we first got in line, but I never noticed that the whole time I was standing there.
Right.
How, you know what I mean? So that was the whole process of that panic attack started.
Right.
Yeah. I remember what you said to me. You said my hand was shaking so hard you couldn't even hold on to it.
No, you were... Like, it was like reality set in. Like, you were okay right up until we got to the point where we were in the stall. Like, the way it was set up, like, he had, like, a little area with, like, a table, but there was, like, the only way I can describe it is, like, a corral. And, like, corralled the line. It was, like, an input, like, an in point and an exit point.
Yeah.
And we got into that corral, and you were just, like, at that point, it was, like reality kicked in of, like, I'm about to
meet Darby Allin.
Yeah, and you were just like,
yeah, I'm like slobbering on myself, I think.
Yeah, and I'm once we got up there, I'm like, okay, I need to say something.
Yes, because I wasn't about to talk.
Like,
I'm telling nothing to say to you.
I'm telling him about my favorite match, and you know all the. And he's just like, yeah, cool. And I'm like, yeah, she, you know, you're the reason she watches wrestling. He's like, oh, that's awesome. Thanks for giving me a try. And you're just like, oh, blah 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 blah.
And then, but I didn't know you paid to have me get my picture taken because you were like, "Are you ready?" And he goes, "Are you ready?" And I'm like, "Ready for what?"
Yeah.
And he's just standing there looking from me to you. He's like,
"Yeah, like,
are you two not on the same page?"
She's a little slow, Darby.
Yeah. Well, you know, but that's what like famous people. I was surrounded by them, and they were right fucking there. It was like. They weren't in a distance.
Right.
They were right there.
But I mean, it's not the first. Like, I was kind of prepared for it. Like, this is the worst case you've ever had.
Right, because I've been with you at these things
Right.
before. But
Like-
this was like... Yeah.
Like being starstruck with Lou Ferrigno
Oh, God.
was
Don't remind me of Lou.
was embarrassing,
That poor man.
but at the same time amusing.
Yeah.
Because you were just like,
God, it's Lou Ferrigno.
yeah,
I mean, when I was that close to the dude we actually went there to see and never did. Ray Park.
Ray Park,
He
yeah.
was right there too, and I was like, Jesus Christ, it's Toad. There's Toad.
yeah. But when we went to that, when ECW got bought up by WWE, and the WWE version of AEW put on a show at the Ross Draver Ice Garden, and we were like 3 rows back from the ring.
Oh yeah. I remember
And
that.
you were like, at that point, like without even like having watched that much ECW, like you were already like, Sandman's my favorite.
Oh,
I love the
Sandman.
Sandman. And like,
Man, my dude.
and he walked like right in front of you.
Right, because wait, you got to tell. They had an intermission.
Yeah.
We went to get something to drink and something to eat.
Right.
When we came back, everybody that was seated in front of us in the second row wasn't there.
Yeah.
And I turned to you and I was like, "Where is everybody? Why is none of these like it? I get was intermission and people were up, but the
Yeah.
whole entire row was empty." And I was like, "Where is there?" And you were like, "Just wait." And then I heard Sandman's music drop, and I was like, "Oh my God." But I was like, where is he? Where is he? Where is he? Because, you know, he was always somewhere up there. And when he came down, he walked on those chairs that were right in front of us.
Right.
And I was just like, I couldn't breathe. I was like, I could smell him. He was that fucking close to me.
You could smell the beer.
I could smell
all
the beer.
over him. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, I was gonna like reach out and touch something of him, but he had that fucking cane thing, and I was like, he's gonna turn around and hit me in the head.
But yeah, I mean, that was one of those moments. Like, that was the first time I saw that, and I was like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" And you were just like, he was right there. I cracked a beer over us.
Who's that man?
Yeah.
I think he sweated on me.
Yeah, and the best part was that for those of you who don't know, like, Sandman, like had his entrance was like 10 minutes long. Like, they played Enter Sandman like 3 times.
Yeah,
He
he
just,
was
like-
worse than Moxley.
Yeah, like as he like makes his way around the ring and he stands on the guardrail and cracks open beers and smashes them on his head.
Yeah, way before Steve Austin started doing it, by the way.
Steve Austin just drank beers. He didn't crash them over his head.
Well, you know, he still had the same gimmick. I'm just saying, Sandman was doing it before.
So Austin admits that. He's like I stole. He's like part of the gimmick I stole from
Good.
Sandman.
I'm glad he realizes that.
Yeah. Like it fucking works. Like, I'm just not crushing them on my head because I'm not stupid.
But yeah, that day was, oh my God.
But then, so you have that moment,
Yes.
and then there was the Marty Casey
Oh
moment.
my God, the Marty Casey moment. Oh my God, that man thought I was a fucking freak. I tell you what, he extends his hand and I pull back.
Yeah.
Like, who fucking does that to a famous person?
Marty Casey, it was Marty Casey and the Love Hammers. Marty Casey was on a CBS show called In Excess Rockstar.
Yes.
And they were trying to find a new lead singer for In Excess. And he got down to the final 2. He should have won.
Yes, he should.
But we think he didn't get picked because he had his own band, and so they picked the other guy who turned out to be a psychopath.
J.D. Fortune.
J.D.
He
Fortune.
was living out of his car.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's why they did it. They felt pity for him. Because don't get me wrong, the kid could sing.
Yeah.
He was not Marty Casey.
Yeah. But anyway, through this show, Nancy finds this guy, Marty Casey, who was amazing. He's probably still is. Amazing singer.
Yeah, we bought CDs and everything.
Like he had like it was all cover songs. Like the songs he was doing, like he did that cover of "Hit Me Baby One More Time," that was just.
He did Creep.
Creep, like that version of Creep, I think is better than Radiohead.
Oh yeah, Creep. His version is way better. I hate to say that because I like Radiohead.
Yeah.
But remember when he did Trees, because that was a song his band did.
Right.
Yeah.
But then he also did that version of Mr. Bright Eyes.
Yes. Yes.
You know, and then
but he also had the stage presence.
Right. He did a version of Wish You Were Here.
Yes. Yeah.
You know.
Yep. I have that DVD where they go through all that shit.
Yeah. So like he did Nancy like fell in love with the guy, and so he's coming to town. What was it, Mr. Smalls, I think.
Yes.
He came to. So it's like, you know, and if again, this is it's a former church converted into a concert venue that it's small, and the crowd was small.
It's standing room only.
It's standing room only, but the crowd was small.
Yeah, there might have been 50 people in there.
And
I'd be exaggerating.
Right. There was maybe 50 people in the building.
Well, first of all, nobody knew who Marty Casey and the Love Hammers was. All they knew Marty Casey. We found out, because remember why we were watching the show, we were like, Marty Casey and that band should join.
You're right, yeah.
And then we found out he had his own band, and then we found out they were coming. So he didn't really have that big of a following, because I think they're from like Chicago, yeah. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
So we like I mean, I dug the guy, but I wouldn't have gone to go see him live. But I was like, you know, hey, let me take you to go see Marty Casey live.
Sean was still wooing me back then.
So we go to this show, and like immediately you're nervous because it's like nobody's there.
Yeah.
Like, so like the stage is like we were like 3 feet from the stage.
We were so close.
And so that's already got you a little nervous because you're like, I shouldn't be this close. Can we go back? I'm like, we're fine right here. We're fine. And then he comes down off the stage and he's walking around and he's basically shaking everybody's hand. And he walked up to Nancy, and Nancy pulled her hand away.
I did. I pulled my hand back, and he stood there looking at me like,
yeah,
while he's singing.
Yeah, it was like that moment of like, wow.
Yeah.
I can't believe that happened.
Way before COVID.
Yeah.
Way before then. Yeah, I did. I yanked my hand back, and the look on his face, and the funny part about it. Do you remember the funny part?
Do tell.
He went and he jumped up on the bar.
Yeah.
Sang, whatever. Yeah. Came down, came our way again, and as he walked past us, he just turned to me and winked.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, oh my God. He is so adorable. Yeah.
But like her being starstruck even reached a point like you didn't even really want to touch me after I touched Chris Cornell.
No.
Like
that, I am so jealous of that. Like, oh my God, that is like, and I tell people that, and they look at me like, well, you should believe, I'm not saying I touched him. I'm saying my roommate touched it, you know, and I was like, and they're just looking at me like, Chris Cornell, come on, really?
And it was like, let me describe the situation. So we went to go see it. It was Chris Cornell was the opening act, and Linkin Park was the main attraction. So this is
amazing.
Yeah. Like, and Chris Cornell comes out and he's walking around, and this is at Starlight Amphitheater, so it's an outdoor theater, and he's walking around like just singing, and
like he does,
with
that most beautiful voice he had. Oh my God!
And at one, like he's coming.
And
we
had actual seats. We were not in the lawn.
Yeah, we weren't on the lawn. We actually had seats. And, like there was nobody in our row.
There was nobody around us at all, and which was amazing considering Chris Cornell is the opening act.
Right. And so I could see he's going to make his way down, like, the other side of our row, like, down that aisle.
On the left side, yeah.
And so I'm like, come on, let's go. And you're like, no.
And you're like, give me the camera, I'll go take a picture.
Yeah, so I go down, I take a picture, and I pat him on the back as he was walking by. Yeah. And he kind of gave me a little thumbs up action or something. And I walked back and I'm handing you the camera and you're like shaking.
I know. Because I saw the whole thing. I was like, oh my God, he touched him.
Yeah.
Don't ever watch that shirt. You got Chris Cornell's DNA on you.
Yeah. Like you were so freaked out that I touched Chris Cornell. Like you were like, couldn't like handle being around me the rest of the night.
Nope. No, because remember you went to I was like, go get me something to drink. Just get away from me.
Yeah.
And you brought that big drink with the straw. But see, like, Chris Cornell was just, oh my God, he was amazing. I freaking loved that man. I loved him. Yeah. So it freaks me out to think about it today.
Yeah.
Like, you touched him.
Yeah.
Fucking crazy. I was like, and I wasn't that far away. I could see you right fucking there.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a good concert. That was a really good concert, and it's a sad concert to think about, though.
Right, because not too long after that, they're both gone.
Right, yeah, because they did Hunger Strike together.
Yeah, they did Hunger Strike together.
I got it on video. Remember?
Yeah, they did Hunger Strike together during Cornell's set, and Cornell came out at the end to do.
Yeah, what did he do with Chester?
I can't remember.
It's the one they close with all the time.
Yeah, they close with it all the time.
Oh my god, it's off their hybrid theory. Oh my god, I can't think of
the
the
song
one.
with Korn. The lead singer from Korn did it.
Yes, exactly. It's the one they close all the time. Yes, if I can think of the name of it. But yes, it was like amazing to see them two
together on stage doing.
And I'm so glad I got footage of it because it was beautiful. One of the two best voices of my generation.
It's sad because at the time that concert, I was like, yeah, it was a good concert, and I'm glad I saw it. But like now,
meanwhile, I'm like, oh my god, the greatest concert.
Right. But now, I mean, it's in my top 5. But it's in my top 5 for all the wrong reasons.
Right. Exactly.
And
it's in my top 5 for the right reasons.
Right. But I mean, it was a great show. Don't get me wrong. It was. I'm glad I saw Chris Cornell live.
Okay, just a minute. It was the bravery that brought that show down. Don't blame Chris Cornell or Linkin Park.
No, I'm not.
It was the bravery. Oh my god, did they suck?
I don't even remember that. I remember.
Good, because they sucked.
Right. I remember Chris Cornell and I remember Linkin Park, and I thought, man, it was a great show. I'm glad I saw it, but it's they're unfortunate, they're untimely deaths that put it in the top 10 or top 5 for me now, because it's they were two great artists. Yes. It's just at the time, I appreciate it. I thought it was a great show, but it's just in there because of what happened.
Right.
Not very long.
It was not that long after that.
But the Rolling Stones show I saw, the opening act was the group that did the Butterfly song. Not Butterfly, the Bumblebee song.
Oh, Blind Melon.
Blind Melon. And
wow. I couldn't stand them.
Right. Well, they were the worst opening act I've ever seen.
I believe it.
I don't hold it against the Rolling Stones, but a few weeks later, that's when Shannon Hoon died.
Oh, okay. All right.
That was
yeah, well, we at least had a year between Chris Cornell and Chester.
Right.
Yeah.
But I don't elevate their performance because of Shannon Hoon dying. It's that's still one of the worst shows I ever saw. And it's probably because Shannon Hoon was high as fuck.
I believe that too.
The flip side, I saw Depeche Mode.
Oh my god!
When I saw Depeche Mode, several weeks later, Dave Gahan went into rehab.
You're a jinxie. You're a jinxie. Stop going to these concerts.
There's not a doubt in my mind that Dave Gahan was high as fuck during that show, and it's still one of the best shows I've ever seen.
Oh my god! Stop laughing. That's not funny.
So I mean,
it's not. You were jinxing these people by going to see them live.
I remember, I saw them, and 2 months later, it's on MTV. I got Dave Gahan has entered rehab, and I'm just like, Kurt Loder, I just saw him live 2 months ago. You're kidding me? You're telling me he was high as fuck when I saw him?
Well, wait. What's the one that you have on video that you showed me, and it was very clear this man was on drugs?
I think it was Depeche Mode.
Right, but is it the same tour that you saw him on?
It was a European tour, but it was basically the same show I saw.
So within the same year?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So then, okay. I just curious because if it was a 5 years difference, I'm like, how many times has this man, got help?
Yeah.
But I don't want to say enter rehab because I don't like that term, but he got help.
But yeah, I mean, it was within I would say that I think that footage was from 6 months before.
Okay. All right.
I mean,
he was clearly fucked up in that. Oh my god.
And doing a lot of the same stuff I saw him do. That videotape of that show, which was in Milan, I think. It's damn near the same concert, just on a bigger stage.
Okay.
So they had different backgrounds and stuff.
Right.
But otherwise,
which I'm okay with that because them creepy leg thing walking just creeped me the fuck out.
Well, I was getting that on video. I was still. It just wasn't as big.
Okay, it was just.
But I was still getting the creepy walking thing in the background. Yeah.
Man, that's just. They creep me out.
But yeah, that was almost. I mean, that was almost the exact same set I saw.
Yeah.
And at the time, too, it was like I knew Depeche Mode, but I only knew I was only scratching the surface of Depeche Mode,
Mm-hmm.
and that was when I started like really digging down deep into Depeche Mode.
Okay.
Like, I knew like their hits,
Right.
but like that was like at that time when I saw them in concert, I was finally like digging into like the albums, listening to the deeper cuts and stuff like that, like
All
really
right.
like music for the masses
Right.
and stuff like that. I was really like delving down into that.
What year? Around what time frame would you say that is? Year?
I want to say it was.
I'm just curious if I was in Depeche Mode before you.
You probably were. 'Cause I saw them in concert. It was like I want to say it was maybe 94.
Oh no, I was listening way in the
Yeah.
80s. Yeah, no.
Like I want to say what
Like because I did that whole alternative shit
Yeah.
thing.
Like,
with
I was doing it-
Pure, New Order shit like that.
Yeah, I was doing it too, but I wasn't doing it as a deep.
Right.
Like I was still like because like that was the type of music I was using as rebellion.
Oh, okay.
Like, because here's the hard thing to do. It's hard to like put on Motley Crue and have your dad go, "That sounds really fucking good." You know what I mean? Like,
Okay, well, here's the alternative to that.
I understand. Your dad was like, "What is
Yeah,
this shit?"
I put Metallica on,
Like-
and he's like, "You need to listen to some Bach for 3 hours because
Like-
you listened to one Metallica song."
Like,
Yeah.
my dad was like, "This sounds really cool. It's kind of punk like. Have you ever listened to the Sex Pistols?" The fuck? Yeah,
Well, I would have never even said that name to my father.
I think you'll really like the Ramones. Have you given them a try? Like, it's my dad. Like,
Yeah.
how do you rebel?
Yeah.
Or it's Duran Duran.
What?
Like, my parents were like, "What the fuck are you listening to?"
That was the good. My dad was okay with Duran Duran,
Like,
but he had to be.
so it was like that. It was Depeche Mode. It was The Cure.
Right.
That was the stuff I was listening to the Rebel because the stuff that any other kid would listen to the Rebel, my parents were like, "That sounds pretty fucking good."
Wow.
Like-
How opposite our fathers are.
Like, if I would have played Poison without showing my dad the album cover, my dad would have probably been like, "Yeah, that's not bad." But when he saw the album cover, he's like, "Is that girls?"
Same thing I said. I said,
Yeah.
"Who are these 4 chicks?"
Yeah. So
This ain't Vixen. Who is this?
yeah. So it was, but like other than that, like other than the style of like hair metal, my dad was like, "Yeah, that's not bad." I mean, my parents saw Def Leppard before I saw Def Leppard.
Oh my God, stop talking. I can't.
I'm serious. They saw Def Leppard. It was the World Series of Rock and Roll in Cleveland in 1980. They went to
my
go see Bob Seger was the main attraction. Def Leppard was one of the opening acts. They saw Def Leppard before Pyromania.
Oh my God.
Like my parents, like when Pyromania came out, they're like, "Is it that band we saw in Cleveland?" And I'm like, "What the fuck?"
Oh, wow. Hey, and my parents wouldn't even let me go see Phil Collins.
Yeah.
They wouldn't let me go see Genesis.
Yeah, like, I mean, it was like
I was able to go see the Monkees though.
Yeah, I mean, it was that thing of like my parents were like, "Yeah, Bring On the Heartbreak. That's not a bad song. We saw it live."
Oh my
I'm
God.
like, what the fuck?
Oh my God.
Yeah. So, like, to rebel, that's what I had to go into. Like,
Yeah.
But I wasn't digging, like, in my teenage years, I wasn't digging down deep enough into it.
Into Depeche Mode.
Right.
Right.
So, like, when I started getting into really getting into Depeche Mode, it was like my rebellion against grunge.
Gotcha.
I was like, fuck, this
Right.
doesn't speak to me, but this does, and I'm going to dig deeper into it. And that's when I
why
started.
You were a latecomer, yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't a latecomer. Like I knew the band, but I didn't know the band.
Right, but you didn't like
Yeah,
go off the deep end.
I knew
like
I knew
the rest of us.
I knew
did.
the surface of the band.
Yeah.
You know, and so like that's when I started going down that rabbit hole, and like with Susie and the Banshees and like all that stuff. Like I
Right.
really like the '90s is when I got really into like '80s alternative,
Right.
which is like a weird thing to say, but
Yeah.
again, it was like my way of rebelling against.
And that's the whole thing, though. When you say 80s alternative back in the 80s was way different than what they consider alternative today.
Right.
So it's hard to explain that to some people that aren't age difference and that. But yeah, I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
But I didn't see him on the Violator tour. I saw him on the album after. What was the name of the album after?
I don't know. I'd have to look
Songs
it
of Faith
up.
and Devotion.
Was it that one?
That's him. Yeah.
Because that's the one in my shoes is on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
In Your Shoes. Yeah. That's.
Yeah, In Your Shoes.
Yeah.
I keep saying my for some reason.
But yeah, that's the tour I saw them on, was the Songs of Faith and Devotion tour.
All right. Violator and Songs of Faith. I see Music for the Masses was really good too. You know, it's kind of hard to narrow down which one was like the good one.
Those three are like the trio.
Right.
Like that was like the epitome of them like going down the dark path.
Right.
And it finishes with Songs of Faith and Devotion. And not that the other stuff is like bright, cheery pop music. But
wait, isn't Music for the Masses after Songs of Faith and Devotion?
No. That was before.
Oh.
That came out in like 88.
Oh, maybe I got my decades backwards. I'm trying to think on how old, like where I was in my life when I heard this song, you know what I mean?
Because Songs of Faith, or not.
Because I was like, this band just keeps getting better and better.
Yeah, Music for the Masses was the one that like I had like Little 16 on it, and
right,
yeah, stuff like that.
That one's I because it was a double cassette if you had the cassette. Yeah, because that's how long some of those songs were.
Right.
Yeah.
And then that was the one they released the live album off of.
I don't know. I didn't have the live version.
I had the live version. Like, but I mean, it wasn't a live version of that album because they did that with Songs of Faith and Devotion. They did Songs of Faith and Devotion, and they released Songs of Faith and Devotion
the live I know about that one because my Spotify list sometimes when I had to put a couple live on there because it just wouldn't give me the original.
I think it was called Route 66. Or something
yes,
like that.
Yes.
That was a live album. It was live from the Hollywood Bowl.
Yeah, I don't know where. I just remember Route 66.
Yeah, it was live from the Rose Bowl. That was it. They did it from the Rose Bowl, which is like 100,000 people.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
That part I wouldn't remember.
Right, but it was like, you know, so it was like a weird album because it's like got all this like poppy stuff like Flies on the Windscreen and, you know, stuff like that. And then it goes like, you know, Little 16.
Right.
You know,
right.
You're like,
yeah. You're like,
shit,
oh,
to a dark turn fast. Yeah.
What is happening?
Yeah.
Put your seatbelt on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed that the first time I heard it. Yeah. And what I liked about it was one of those ones that you can listen to all the way through. You don't have to like, I gotta skip past this. Like, the first Muse CD I ever had, the one with Time Is Running Out.
Yeah.
You can listen to that thing all the way through, never skip a song, because it's Muse.
Yeah.
But the shit they're putting out now, I'm skipping all kinds of songs.
Right.
Because it's just not as good. So, but Depeche Mode went the other way with that. It was like the more you heard, the more they put out, the more you just wanted to listen to it all completely.
Well, they went in a different direction. Like they started off as like this very poppy sounding.
Right, like People Are People and shit like that. Yeah.
I mean, there was some dark undertone to it, but it was still very like.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, but they had they're competing. They have to be on MTV and shit too. You know.
But then
I still don't understand that one video where he's just walking. And then he's in the snow walking, and he's carrying a chair, and then he got this robe on, and I'm like, what is happening here?
I think it's the one for Personal Jesus, right?
I don't remember that. I just remember the video.
That was either Enjoy the Silence or
Enjoy the Silence.
Or Enjoy the Silence.
Because I'm like, it ain't Personal Jesus. That's why I'm like, I don't remember the video for Personal Jesus.
Neither do I.
There has to be one.
Yeah, I'm sure there is.
I'm trying to think in my head. Personal Jesus. I love Depeche Mode. How do I not know this? But I mean, there was, as they got further, there was like, where it was hit or miss.
Right, but Music for the Masses is the album that like they went from being like pop, synth pop to like borderline emo.
Right.
You know, and then that continues with Violator. That continues with Songs of Faith and Devotion, and then like the later albums are still very good, but clearly whatever heroin-induced haze Dave Gahan was in for those 3 albums created genius.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's like Aaron Lewis.
Oh yeah.
The only time he creates good music is when he's sad and depressed.
When he's not, he creates country.
Don't remind me, my lord. I skipped going to see him live because of that.
I know.
I was like, I am not going to see Aaron Lewis sing country. Oh, what was he thinking?
Like, and it's like one of those things where, like, I've seen, like, where, like, he's coming to town and they have to put in the ad he's performing country music.
Right.
It's like when Eddie Murphy released his album of songs, like with, you know, My Girl Wants to Party All the Time. Mm-hmm. He did a tour with that album. Okay? And they had to put in there, this is not a comedy show. Because people were buying tickets to see him do comedy and were getting pissed because he was doing music.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't what I came to see.
Right.
So they had to announce in the ads for the show, Eddie Murphy's coming to town. It's not a comedy show.
Right.
You know? It's like,
so people are going to see Aaron Lewis thinking they're going to see Staind.
Yeah.
And they're not. They're getting him singing country.
Yeah.
Oh, my
and
God.
They're pissed.
Oh, I would be pissed, too, if I didn't know. But if I'm going to see a concert called Aaron Lewis, I would say, well, is he with Staind or is he not? You know, I would actually, like, look into it.
Right, but but still, like, there's an expectation level, I think. Like, even if you say, well, he's no longer with Staind, he's still going to do Staind songs.
Right.
Or the music he's doing as a solo artist is going to sound like Staind.
Right.
No. It's about pickup trucks and, you know, hound dogs.
Right.
It is, you know, I am accustomed to Aaron Lewis singing about how awful life is.
Yes. How much I want to kill myself.
And now he's singing about how good life is in a pickup truck with a coon dog. You know, and I mean, it's like a complete 180 from what I am accustomed to, you know.
Yes. This is not working for me,
no,
Mr. Lewis.
Not at all.
Not at all. He's had to have lost fans. He's had to have.
But I think he's gained fans.
Oh, my God.
Like, I think, like it's that thing of, like, what you lose is what you gain by switching to genre. Like, you know, it's the prime example is Darius Rucker.
Oh my God.
Like Darius Rucker with Hootie and the Blowfish.
Yeah.
I love Hootie and the Blowfish. Mm-hmm. But I mean, like when he left Hootie and the Blowfish, he went full on country.
Yes.
And I mean, beloved. He is beloved by country fans. So like all the fans he lost by like no longer doing like Hootie, he probably doubled that by going country.
Right.
You know, so I don't know what Aaron Lewis's standing is in the country. Like I just don't pay attention.
Right.
But I'm sure he's got to be selling albums.
Yeah, I mean he's still doing it.
And I think oddly enough, like I think like there's a weird thing of like our generation. It was either you are country or you're not.
Right.
Like there's no, you know what I mean? Like you like country music and you are in the country lifestyle or you are not.
Right.
You know, there's no in between with like our generation.
Right. Exactly.
And I feel like the current generation, they are willing to mix genres.
Yes.
You know, so like, yeah, I like country music and I like hip hop and I like they are willing to like just completely mix and match genres much more than our generation ever was.
Right.
So it may work out to Aaron Lewis's favor that like the kids, like the 14-year-old kids that were listening to Staind are still like, yeah, he's singing about pickup trucks and coon dogs now. I don't care. I still like Aaron Lewis.
Right, exactly.
You know, I like country music anyway. It's just,
yeah, right.
You know, whatever works.
Right.
You know, so that's a possibility in my eyes. Where like with me, it's like I don't like country music for the most part.
Right.
You know, there's some country music I like, but I don't go down like.
I won't even say I don't like country music. I don't like it at all.
Yeah.
You say for the most part, no, nothing. There's not one song I want to hear.
I do like some Garth Brooks now and again.
Don't like any.
I like a little Johnny Cash.
Nothing.
I respect Waylon Jennings. You know.
Don't want to hear shit.
I know you don't. I know. I mean, you are a hard divide.
I am. Don't even put Dolly Parton on. I don't want to hear it. I know Kenny Rogers. Get the fuck out of here. My Google is forbidden to play country music. I said that shit up.
Yeah. So it's like, but I mean, like, it is true. Like, I mean, it's the same thing. Like, you know, you also don't like rap or hip hop.
That's not true. That is absolutely not true.
Okay.
Beastie Boys, Linkin Park, Jay-Z, Ice Cube, Ice-T. I could go on. What do you mean I don't? What?
Okay, you usually don't like.
Like the Beastie Boys alone should say yes. She likes that. Linkin Park.
I don't classify the Beastie Boys as hip hop though.
They were rapping.
I understand that, but I put the Beastie Boys like in their own completely separate category.
Well, that's because they're freaking awesome, but they're still rapping. I'm sorry.
Right. I mean, like to me, I listen to something like Intergalactic, and I don't or
They're
Sabotage.
rapping in there.
It's a rapping. Yes, I understand that the style of music is rap, but everything else around it isn't hip hopish or rapish.
Okay,
You know what I mean? You see what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying
Like,
now. Yes.
like the delivery of the music
right.
isn't a rap style. You are correct, but
because
everything
it
else
was
around the
freaking
music,
brilliant that
right?
they did that.
It's just not a simple beat,
right.
that they're just talking over.
And it would be Linkin Park the same way.
Right.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, while there are some lyrics delivered in a rap style, you have Chester doing his thing. So
Yes.
it's a mashing
Right.
of styles.
Gotcha.
So it's a little different. But like straight hip hop. I mean, the only ones that ever turned me around on like hip hop, like really turned me around on it. And there's stuff I've always liked, but like when we saw Snoop Dogg live,
Oh yeah, Snoop brought it.
I was shocked. Like
Yeah.
I never thought. Like, I always thought, like, how do you do this shit live?
Yeah.
Like it just doesn't seem like it would work to me.
No.
But
Yeah.
I'll be damned if he didn't turn me around. I'm like, okay, I can
know.
see how it could work.
He was pretty damn good, man.
His backup band was pretty damn good. I was shocked.
Yeah, that was an interesting concert.
Yes, it
Because it
was.
was like you had Snoop Dogg, Korn, Linkin Park.
Right.
So you're like, I get the Korn and Linkin Park because
Right.
Korn is was before. Doesn't matter. Before the shit had happened, Korn was an amazing band back then,
Yeah.
and Linkin Park, obviously, my all-time favorite band ever. So you're like, how does Snoop Dogg fit into this?
Yeah.
And it fit.
Yeah.
It absolutely fit. Yeah, that was a show that I went into like expecting crap and came out like amazed.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. Like I was like, damn, that's good.
Yeah. Because remember, I was like, it's okay if we're late. It's only,
Yeah, it's
only
Snoop Dogg.
Snoop Dogg.
Yeah.
But we were glad we were actually there for it. Yeah. That was an interesting show anyways because of Korn and the fucking mosh pits and shit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, not allowed to talk about them.
The old dapper napper.
Yeah, we vowed we will not talk about
Yeah.
the cats on this one. Yeah. We went to some good shows. We really did. Like, I mean, the 30 Seconds to Mars ones, the second one wasn't all that good when they were the opener for Muse.
Yeah.
Because it was just him talking, and you're like, I came here to hear you sing, not
Yeah.
act. Yeah, I love you for both.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but I paid to see you sing.
Yeah.
So get up there with your band and fucking sing. But no, he's out there preaching to the fucking crowd. So anyways, that one was a good show because of Muse.
Yeah. I mean, music was amazing.
Muse was just mind blowing.
And that's where you discovered Paris.
No.
Yeah.
Yes, because they went on before 30
30
Seconds to Mars.
yeah.
Right, that one. And then when we saw them when they were the headliners with That's
Walk
When
the
I
Moon.
Ate and Walked the Moon. We missed Joy Wave, but I did later
Yeah.
say I need to listen to this, and I freaking got hooked on them. Mr. Wives, I still don't care for. But that was the big storm.
Yeah.
That was the big storm where they had to shut it down for a while.
Yeah, that's the one where Leto came out in the fishing waders.
Yeah. Oh, the videos I got on that. We were right there.
Yeah, we were
Oh my god.
we were 3 rows from the stage, but technically we were no rows from the stage because
Yeah.
it came they had that part that came out into the crowd. So
Right.
he was like standing like right there.
Right there.
And you were like 2 seats away from.
From him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is definitely an amazing person in person. But the first time we saw him, I will say that is one of just my favorite concert ever. And it's stupid too because they only performed for 45 minutes and they were the headliner.
Right.
But because I waited 10 years to see this man live,
But
it
also,
was the greatest one to me.
I also think the setting had something to do with it. We saw him in a club.
Club Zoo. It was called Club Zoo at the
Yeah,
time.
but it was the old Metropole.
Right.
But I mean, like it was like
Standing room only.
Yeah, the standing room. But we saw him in a club, and it was packed. But it was a club setting, so it was still very intimate.
Right.
Like even though we weren't near the stage, we were near the stage.
Right.
And it was one of those deals where like I thought it was cool to see him that way, like because like when you watch like the videos and stuff, everything's in front of like these massive crowds. Like the first time I saw 30 Seconds to Mars was in an intimate setting in a club,
right?
Even though they were already big stars,
right?
You know, so that was kind of a cool thing,
right?
But yeah, I thought that first show we saw him at is far superior to the next two.
Right, even though they only played for 45 minutes the first time. Yeah.
But it was a hard 45 minutes.
Right, and that's the whole thing
Yeah.
about it was like you got a good 45 minutes out of it.
Yeah.
But it just I thought it was like they do the intermission thing and then come back out. They never came back out, and I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah. But the last one wasn't too bad either. It just I don't know. I just didn't like the way it ended. I really don't. But I was like right there.
Right.
My dream to stand that close to
But
Jared
it's just
Leto.
it's the thing of like they refuse.
Yes.
It bothers me. Like
Right.
I love their first album.
Well, anytime anybody asks me about 30 Seconds to Mars, because on my locker at work I have a picture of Jared Leto on there. They'll ask me about it, and I'll be like, "Yeah, if you're gonna listen to them, please listen to their first one.
Yeah.
Don't judge them for what they're playing. Just go to the first one,
Yeah.
and then tell me if you like them or not."
And the first album's phenomenal. The second album's really fucking good. The third album's still really fucking good. Mm-hmm. And then that fourth album is like, oh.
Yeah, where are we going here?
Yeah. There's like 2 good songs on this.
Yeah.
And everything else is like, I don't know what the fuck's going on.
I think there's more than 2 good songs on it. Because you like that Ode to LA thing he sings.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good song. I don't care for the video because the video's like 20 minutes long and, you know.
Well, that's whenever he started doing all those, like for Hurricane.
Yeah.
That's like a 25-minute movie if
Yeah.
you watch the full unedited version.
Yeah.
And you're
It's a 25-minute the Sturge movie.
You're like just scratching your head the whole entire time going, where the fuck is this going?
Yeah.
And then at the end, you're like, why did you not answer some of these questions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me, Bartholomew Cubbins.
Yeah, that was before anybody, and I was like, it's him.
Yeah.
It is him. Like the whole entire time, they're like, who is Bartholomew Cubbins? It's like, it's Jared Leto.
Yeah.
His sick fucking mind is making this shit, you know? But, yeah, that's the time that they were doing that. But the This Is War one was where they started to go downhill. Right?
Faith, love, lust, faith, dreams.
Dreams. Okay.
Yeah.
That's the one they started to go
Yeah, that's the one they started to go downhill on, and then the last one that they released in 2018, America, was just fucking awful.
I liked a couple songs off that, though. Like the one he did with that chick.
Yeah.
Love is Madness. I like that song.
Like,
and then the last song, because it's Shannon Leto.
Yeah. Love, lust, faith, and dreams. That's got Up in the Air, which I like a lot.
Yeah, you like it because in the video, what's her face is riding around half naked on a bull thing.
That's just a bonus. It's a good song.
Yeah, that's the only reason you like that.
Yeah.
I like when he jumps up on Shannon's drums. I like when he does that.
But City of Angels is a good song. I mean,
that's the one you like.
Yeah, it's a good song. I understand it's about LA, but it's a good song.
Right.
But the video version of it, I'm like, this is what the fuck.
I
don't
like
give a
that
shit
song.
why Kanye loves LA. Conquistador is also a good song. Like the first songs.
What's the? That's not the. Never mind. It's the next one that Shannon has a song on it.
Yeah, but yeah, like 30 Seconds to Mars, Beautiful Lie, This Is War. Those 3 albums are amazing.
Amazing.
Especially the first one, 30 Seconds to Mars. I mean, that's just
and the second one has The Kill on it, so that's
Yeah.
amazing right there. And the second one, they have those hidden songs.
Yeah.
So like your song is showing that it's like 15 minutes long.
Yeah.
But after the song ends, you're only at like the 7-minute mark. Well, you have to fast forward to get to that secret song.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, like, Beautiful Lie, The Kill, Was It a Dream, From Yesterday. I mean,
that video was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. The full version.
Yeah.
Keep going. There's some more.
Hunter was
Yes.
the last song. I mean, the whole album is pretty good, but like those are the ones that stand out.
Right, but there's one. Can I see? There's one right at the end that's really good. I think it's A Modern Myth. I think
Yeah.
A Modern Myth, I think, is the one I'm thinking of. That's a really good song.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And then go to the next album and tell me what the last song on that is. I can't remember the Shane Leno song. I want to know what the name is.
What off of This Is War?
No, the last
Album.
The last album. I cannot remember the name of it. It was
Ri-
the only album I haven't bought.
Rider.
That's okay. No, one right before it.
Live Like a Dream.
That's Shannon Leto's song because Rider is instrumental.
Okay.
Rider is a good song, but I think it ends too soon. Yeah.
But even like This Is War, Night of the Hunter, Kings and Queens, This Is War, Hurricane, Closer to the Edge.
Yeah. All those are good.
Yeah. Search and Destroy.
Yep.
I mean, that's a really good album.
Yeah. But the first one, far superior.
Yeah.
Because that has Echelon on it. My all-time favorite.
I thought Buddha for Mary was.
No. Echelon is my all-time favorite song from that album. I mean, well, The Kill is my all-time favorite song from them. But if I have to go by album, Echelon is my favorite one from there. Buddha for Mary is my second favorite.
Edge of the Earth is mine.
It's a good one as well.
That's like my favorite.
Welcome to the Universe is really good too.
Welcome to the Universe, yeah. But yeah, like that sounds like
yeah. Yeah,
there's just something about the lyrics of that song like just click for me.
Right. So we need to start a petition to, first of all, please get Tomo back. Please.
Yeah.
Get Tomo back. We need Tomo.
The man's doing cooking videos on YouTube. Get the man back.
Yeah, get him back, man, because that dude is genius. So you need to get him back. And please, for the love of God, go back to the old style, 30 Seconds to Mars, because this pop stuff just ain't working for me anymore. You know? And there's a couple here, like Love is Madness is actually a really good song.
Yeah.
It actually is. I like it. I enjoy listening to it, and I do. And there's another one on there, Walk on Water.
Yeah.
I like that one too. You know, but I prefer old school.
It's rough because it's like that thing of like I can't think of any band and I mean 30 Seconds to Mars only released 5 albums. You know, over 20 years, 5 albums. That's
well, I mean, the man acts.
He's a very busy man.
Come on.
So, I mean, I get it. He's a busy guy, but still, like 5 albums in 20 years is rough. But like, I think back and it's like, there aren't many bands that release like more than 3 great albums. Like in all honesty, like I think of like Def Leppard. It's like, you know, they released Pyromania, and then Hydra. I can't remember.
No.
And then Adrenalize was the third one. Like those, like those 3 albums are like
Okay.
they're masterpieces. And like after that, it's like downhill.
Right.
You know. There are rare exceptions like Crew. Like they release a bunch of good albums, but eventually, like that slide came. Like Generation Swine is fucking awful.
I'm not very good with album names, so I'm sorry. It's taken me a second. When you're throwing these names at me, I'm putting it in my head, the pictures of the album. So like Dr. Feelgood, I got the picture in my head. You know what I mean? So.
Right, but like
I can't picture that one. I'm sorry.
Like Generation Swine came out in like the late '90s.
Okay.
Like that's the tour I saw.
So I wasn't listening to Crew at that point, so that's why I'm not recognizing it. Okay.
But like you look at it, you had like, you know, Too Fast for Love. You had Theater of Pain, Girls, 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 Dr. Feelgood. That's 4 great albums, and then it drops off.
That's when Dr. Feelgood is when I stopped listening to them, because I thought Dr. Feelgood was phenomenal.
Because
and then I heard something after that. I was like, ugh.
Yeah. Like even like Zeppelin, like Led Zeppelin 1's a good album, but it's not a great album. Led Zeppelin 2 is probably their masterpiece. Led Zeppelin 3 is just an okay album. 4 ever made. And then you got Physical Graffiti, Houses of the Holy, and then In Through the Outdoor, which is an awful album. And then Coda, their last album, which isn't much better.
Right.
Like, so, like, in all honesty, like, Led Zeppelin made, like, 4 great albums, 2 okay albums, and 2 really bad albums.
Okay, so...
And, like, and they're considered one of the greatest bands of all time.
Right. Okay, so here, let's take the greatest bands of all time out of the picture. Led Zeppelin, the Beatles.
Right.
Well, I don't know if you're just like narrowing this down to bands, or if you're like Elvis, Madonna, Adele. You know, like what you know what I'm saying? Is this just bands we're talking about?
Well, it's just like bands I'm familiar with. It seems like they have like a I feel like almost any band or artist. Like you can look at like they maybe have like 4 great albums. Usually, like here's a prime example: Van Halen. I'm going to point out Van Halen 1 is probably one of the greatest albums ever made. Okay. Van Halen 2 is so-so. Diver Down, it's okay. Women and Children First, meh. 1984, one of the best albums ever made.
Right.
So under David Lee Roth, Van Halen had 2 great albums and 3 so-so albums.
Okay.
And then you go to the Sammy years, and you get 5150, OU 812, For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge. And then that 4th album is just meh.
Okay.
But by that point, the band was falling apart.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So like,
obviously.
Right. So I mean, but it's like that thing of like, I can't think of a single band. Even the Rolling Stones, where like, you reach a point where it's like, okay, they don't make good albums anymore, but they're still putting out albums for some ungodly reason. But they maybe had a 3 or 4 album run of like absolute greatness.
Right.
You know, like there's no, and I mean, and we're talking like not only the greatest bands ever, but like I mean, like there are some bands that don't even get that run. Like Poison had 2 great albums. And everything after that was...
Okay, so again, we're just doing rock and roll bands? Because, I mean, Duran Duran was a band, and they had a lot of great albums that were more than 2 or 3.
Okay, but
you know what I mean? Okay. Like, are we excluding these people?
No, I'm not. But, like, I can look at Duran Duran, and I could say a lot of times they become hit or miss. Like, they had a run in the 80s and into the early 90s, and then they kind of drop off, and then they pick up with, like, Astronaut, and then...
But that's more than 3.
But okay, let's look at Duran Duran.
Okay, let's. I'll pull it up myself too, so I'm singing along with you here. So, Duran.
Let's pull up their discography.
Yep. Drop on down to the beginning. Well. You got to go not all the way down. So Duran Duran, 1981.
Yeah, I mean, not much off of that.
What?
I mean, it's not that great of an album.
Are you insane?
I'm not. It's not. I mean, there's some good music on there, but it's not great.
Okay. You are listening to a different 19... Because, I mean, you got Girls on Film, from Planet Earth, Careless Memory. Is there something I should know? How is this not great music?
I'm not saying it's not great music. I'm just saying if it's an overall album, it's just okay.
The Night Boat, Friends of Mine, Tel Aviv, Sound of Thunder. Every single song on here you can listen to. Oh, all the way through.
Okay.
So I'm not really sure how that is not a great album.
So fine. We'll include that then. So you got their debut album, Duran Duran, Rio, Seven and the Ragged Tiger, Notorious, and then Big Thing.
Big Thing is where yes, leveling out on this.
Liberty.
Liberty had 2 great songs.
But it's not a good album.
No, but it had 2 great songs.
And then you have the Wedding album.
Which was phenomenal.
Thank You, which is a very good.
Not the next 2.
Yeah. But, okay, so...
Okay, so you get Medazzaland, which is...
Yeah, it's a bad album.
Pop Trash, which is pop trash.
Yeah.
But then you get Astronaut and Red Carpet Massacre.
And then after that, All You Need Is Now, Paper Gods, and Future Past.
Okay, but if you count them up... There is more albums here.
Okay, I'm not doubting that, but but my point is, like, they go on a run.
Okay.
So they go on a run with their first 4 albums are amazing, and then they drop the ball for a couple, pick it back up, drop it for a couple more, I think the hardest thing in the world for a band to do is remain great.
Right.
Because you lose, like, I always said this, I said this to Ian a lot, like, you look at Metallica, and there is greatness in everything up to the Black Album.
Correct.
The Black Album is when they no longer became hungry.
That's right.
When you talk about, like, every album after the Black Album, why it stinks, the reason is they're not the same band.
Nope.
You know, it's hard to write about being angry when you're sitting on a wallet full of cash.
Yes, exactly.
You know, I mean, all the things that those first 3, 4, 5 albums are about, you can no longer write about.
Right.
It's like listening to Mick Jagger sing about "I can't get no satisfaction." Yes, Mick, you can. You can afford it.
You absolutely can get it.
Yeah.
And often.
Yes.
All right. Well, here. Well, let me present this to you. Wait. Let me present this to you. All right. So it's not necessarily a band, but it is like a band, like bands like Enigma. Every single one of what he puts out, I can listen to.
But that's okay. But I'm talking overall. Like, well, is Enigma worthy of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? That answer is no.
No, I wouldn't say that.
Right. But okay, so yes, like you love every single thing that they've put out, yes. But yet you and 10 other people are listening.
But that's my point.
Right.
Why they couldn't be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because they don't have enough fan followings. But my point is for what, like, our opinions don't count because we're the only ones that listen to them.
But at the same time, like I mean that's like saying the Clarks have never put out a bad album.
Oh, I would not agree with that.
I understand it, but that's my point. Like it's like, sure, they put out good stuff, but you know, putting out good stuff at the local level, what's that mean? I can tell you I've never heard a bad Donny Iris album.
Yeah, but Enigma...
But I love Donny Iris, but like, you know, and Donny Iris technically has had top 10 hits.
But Enigma isn't as big here as it is overseas.
Right.
So, I mean, there's a whole other world over there listening to them, not just the 10 people here in the States.
Right, I understand that, Nance, but you can also do the same thing about Iron Maiden.
I'm just saying, you're saying it's almost impossible to have album after album be consistent and good.
It's very, very difficult.
But Enigma does it time after time.
And you and 10 other people enjoy it.
And that's great. Because us 10 people are listening. And my problem, you don't like that kind of music.
So they're the exception, not the rule. There are exceptions to the rule.
Right.
I'm not going to deny that.
Right.
I'm not saying this is every single band, but it's just like the rule of thumb seems to be you're going to reach a limit. And once you reach that limit, what are you doing? Like, if Aerosmith never releases another album, I'll be happy.
Yes.
I mean, in all honesty, they peaked in the 90s, which is amazing considering they're a band from the 70s.
Yeah.
You know.
And that's the same thing as I was, happy David Bowie was able to, release something before he passed away, but I wish he wouldn't have.
Right.
Because it was god awful. Yeah. I don't know. I'm just saying it is possible. It's not impossible.
Right, I get that, but at the same time...
Just because there's only a little fan following doesn't mean every single one isn't great.
Right. I understand your point, but it's an exception to the rule, but the rule seems to hold pretty damn true. Mm-hmm. With damn near everybody.
Right. I'm not disagreeing with that. Because even like Linkin Park, I can sit here and say, yes, they've had a few bad albums,
yeah.
So I'm agreeing, and I hold them as the greatest band ever.
Right.
I know everybody's like, Linkin Park. No, they are, to me, my personal opinion, that they are the greatest band ever.
Right.
But I will say they did not release Magic every single time.
Right.
Into the Light sucks.
Like
bad.
I'll tell you now, I don't think Bruce Springsteen's released a good album since the 80s.
We'll see.
You know what I mean?
And you hold Bruce Springsteen at high esteem.
Right, and there's like to me, like, there's a 5-album run.
Right.
Where, like, that is fucking genius.
Right.
That's amazing. I can't believe you did that.
Right.
And then you fall off.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. I'm just saying you get what I'm saying.
All right, so I think this episode's gone off the rails far enough.
Yeah, I'm saying. Yeah, I think we already talked about favorite concerts and whatnot.
I'm sure we have, but, you know, if you're new to the show, if you're somebody in France who's, like, wondering what the fuck, there you go.
But I have to say one thing. You said about, do I have a minute?
Yeah.
You said about the first time we saw 30 Seconds to Mars, you enjoyed it because it was such a close venue.
Right.
And it was like more intimate and whatnot for the first time you were seeing them.
Right.
But when I went to see Gary Newman, that was the same exact thing. And look how close I was to that stage. And you're way back there. I didn't even know where you were. It wasn't like, it doesn't bother me, but I was like, it was a close, intimate, and how close I was to him.
Right.
I was like 3 people back. I was the 3rd person back from him. Why would you not want to be?
The difference is about 200 pounds.
What?
I'm probably about 200 pounds heavier than what I was when I saw 30 Seconds to Mars.
Oh.
Like, standing that long,
Dork.
I couldn't have done it.
Oh, okay, because it was standing room only, yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah, but it was so good.
I
mean, this man was on my walls as a child.
Right.
And I need to get that poster from my office.
Listening to the concert
there.
from where I was sitting, which I wasn't, I was just in the back, but I could see the stage and stuff from where I was, but I couldn't see the entire thing.
You couldn't see him interacting with me.
No, I didn't see that, no.
Nobody believes me that happened.
I believe it happened. I just didn't see it. But I wasn't, like, in a position to see
Gary Newman, did I ever tell people that?
No, tell them.
All right, so I'm standing 3rd person back, and I'm watching him. I'm in awe. Like, I'm in awe. I could just imagine, like, the look on my face. I have my phone and my bottle of water, and I'm holding it up to my chest, and I'm just, like, in awe because it's freaking Gary Newman, man. So
again, Nancy is extremely starstruck at a C-level celebrity. But,
Aww.
I mean, in all honesty, I mean, I'll be the first to tell you, like, before, like, Nancy went down this hole of, like, dark music, like, I only knew Gary Newman for Cars. And she introduced me to, like, his stuff he's done within the past 10 years. And it's, like, some really, really good stuff. Like, I'm very impressed with the sound, the music, and the lyrics. Like, everything about the music he's done the past 10 years is phenomenal. It's that thing, like, I don't, like, you play Tool, I'm like, oh, fuck, this shit again. You play Manson, I'm like, fuck, I hate this shit. You play Gary Newman, I'm like, okay, I'm there. I'm cool.
I'll have to play more Gary Newman. But I can't overload with him.
Right.
Because there's an overload to that.
Right. So, like, it's interesting because it's like,
what did you call one time? You called it
industrial.
Industrial.
The music he's doing now, in a weird way, reminds me a little bit of early 9 Inch Nails.
Yes.
If you're looking for something,
I agree.
If you're something that goes down that kind of road, I look up Gary Newman's latest stuff, and I think you'll enjoy it.
Yes, especially.
It's not as hard. I mean, you're not going to get head. You're not getting head like a hole.
No.
But it has that type of sound.
Yeah.
If that's something you're interested in.
Especially Intruder. Intruder is that kind of sound, definitely. That's his last one.
Yeah. So I mean that like if you want to classify the same way I classify 9 Inch Nails,
right?
Which is industrial.
Yes.
Because it has that kind of sound.
Yes.
But
Trent Reznor is a genius. That man is a genius.
I think what's genius about Trent Reznor is, like, he's the guy who figured it out. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this anymore. And now he's doing, like, soundtracks.
Right.
And he's phenomenal at it. Like, he's amazing at it.
Yes, he has.
I applaud him for it because, like, he had, like, a 3-album run.
Yeah.
And then it was all downhill after that.
I'll agree with you on that one. Yeah. And he did some solo stuff, and Yeah. What were we talking about? You made me. You interrupted me.
Well, you were talking about the Gary Newman interacting with you. I'm sorry.
Oh yes. So we got there early, so I got really close to the stage. Whatever. So he's singing in that. When he first came out, I was just like, oh my god, man is beautiful in real life. But anyways, he's going back and forth, but he has like the headset thing on at first.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, he did. He did have the headset thing on the first one, didn't he? So anyways, if he not, he holding the microphone, doesn't matter. So anyways, he's like going back at a very small stage.
Yeah.
Pretty small stage. So he's over on my side, and he's standing like right in front of me. Now, at the time, he just started, so there was not that many people around me.
Right.
And where you were standing after you left, nobody filled that gap, and I think it was because they thought, this man is going to need his room when he comes back. Right. So there was never anybody beside me on the right. Nobody ever got to me on the left, and there was like a gap in front of me. So, right. I mean, it was just weird the way at this time there was nobody around me. There might have been somebody to the left of me. I don't know. So anyways, he comes over and he's like making these faces. And I'm like, what is this man doing? Like, I don't understand like why these expressions are on. That's how close I was. I could see every expression on his face. But then he does this like Jokerish thing where he does like a smile on his face.
Yeah.
And for some reason that made me like laugh. Yeah. And I was like, huh. And he points to me and he winks.
Yeah.
And I'm turning from side to side like he just did that to me.
Yeah.
Like he was trying to get me to smile by making those faces.
Right.
And when he couldn't, because I was out of it. I ain't gonna lie. I ate a pot brownie before I went into that concert. And when he did the smiley face, I thought I was like, what the hell is he doing? That's what he was trying to do.
Yeah.
So immediately I text Sean and it's like, did you see that? Did you just see that? Did you just see Gary Newman interact with me? And I get a text back going, I'm going to tell you the truth. Where I'm sitting, I can only see half the stage. I was like, motherfucker. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, that was, that has to be, even though this is the last concert I saw, and even after Toll, because that was after Toll.
Yeah.
After seeing him, I had to put him in my top 5.
Right.
That show was phenomenal. He put on a fantastic show.
Yeah.
Especially if you listen to his 80s and what he has done.
Right.
Because he's not a one-hit wonder.
Right.
He absolutely is not a one-hit wonder in my eyes.
Right.
Yeah. The 90s, not so much.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, Gary Newman. I'm just, rooting for the man. But I did get my autograph double. It's an autograph. Instead of getting a T-shirt, I got a double autograph album.
Yeah.
His Intruder album for my because I'm collecting albums again. It's autographed.
Yeah.
By him. So, yeah.
So there you go.
That's the Gary Newman story.
That's the Gary Newman.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Yeah.
Now that I bored you to death with Gary Newman, because everybody else is like, give me Google. Who the fuck is this Gary Newman?
Yeah,
what are they talking about?
Yeah.
80s? No, cars? I don't know what you're saying. Yeah, so, yeah. I was telling everybody I was going to see Gary Newman, and they're like, who the fuck is that? I'm like, shut the fuck up. I had to get, like, defensive.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're older than me. How the fuck you not know who Gary Newman is? But anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, that ranks up there with, like, me going to see Donnie.
But see, people in Pittsburgh, even though I'm not a Donnie Iris fan,
yeah,
I never ever want to listen to him, ever. Like,
yeah.
He's like up there with country to me. Doesn't mean that I don't know who he is.
Right.
People were looking at me like, who the fuck is Gary Newman?
Yeah.
And I was like, how do you not know the dude that did Cars? If you listen to music.
Yeah.
In general.
Yeah.
It comes up.
Right, I get what you're saying.
Yeah. It'd be like saying, wait, let's think of one. Oh, God. I had one on the top of my head. Never mind.
I'm trying to think, like, outside of, like... I went and I saw... I saw the Wallflowers before they hit.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they played... This was, in the 90s, like, the way there was Metropole and then there was Rosebud right next to it. They're, like, owned by, like, the same company. Mm-hmm. So there was a door connecting them.
Right.
But, like, Rosebud was like they always had like live music, and it was always like mellower music and stuff like that. Where like when Metropole had like concerts, it would usually be like rowdier shows.
Right.
But and that was also where I went dancing.
Right.
And it would go on 80s night. You know. So, but
that would be my chosen night.
So, but there were these girls that we always ended up dancing with. Never went out with them. I couldn't tell you any of their names, but we always ended up like they knew us because we were there like every single week, and they're like we're not going to do anything. We could be trusted, and they danced with us.
Right.
And the one night they were like, "You should come back tomorrow over at Rosebud. There's this band playing. It's Bob Dylan's son. We think you'll like it." Mm-hmm. And I'm like, Bob Dylan's son,
yeah.
You know, and but me and my buddies talked about it. Me and one of them went down. We saw it, and it was like, you know, it was the Wallflowers before their album hit, before One Headlight came out, and it was like that thing of like that's the closest I could say like to seeing like an obscure band. Like, I mean, I could say Donnie Iris, and like, you know, right now Mongoose is like, who the fuck is Donnie Iris? You know, because you know, but that's in Pittsburgh. That's rock royalty,
right?
You know, so like in Pittsburgh, like, you know, but like I told like these guys at work, I'm like, yeah, I saw this band last night. They were pretty fucking amazing. I'm like, oh yeah, who was it? I'm like, it's the Wallflowers. Like, who the fuck is that? I'm like, I don't know, but I think we're gonna find out soon. Like a couple months later, that's when One Headlight came out.
Right.
You know, but I don't think I've ever seen anybody that was like that nobody had heard of. Like, I've never like gone to see like an obscure band. Like when I said to somebody like, who's that? You know?
No, there might have been a few. You went to a few with me. I mean,
yeah, with you. But
I
like,
mean,
even
I went
before
to
that.
I went to a few Lollapaloozas that we were like, who the fuck is this? And
right.
then all of a sudden they're famous. But for a moment, but like we went to like, who the hell was Walk the Moon? We didn't know who the hell that was.
Right,
you know?
but like I wasn't there to see Walk the Moon. I was there to
Paris,
see 30
there
Seconds
was
to Mars.
another one. You know, we didn't know.
The closest I could probably come, and I didn't even get to see him. This is what pisses me off, because the worst concert I've probably ever fucking seen. On top of the fact that I missed the opening act that I wanted to see, and it was the Aerosmith concert, and the opening act was Johnny Lang.
Okay.
And I wanted to see Johnny Lang, and nobody I was with knew who Johnny Lang was, and so we got there late and missed Johnny Lang. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, what the fuck? How? Yeah. Why did this happen? Like, who the fuck is Johnny Lang?
Yeah.
I'm like, he's one of the greatest guitarists walking the earth right now. If you love blues music, you would have loved to have heard him. Too bad we didn't. You know, I was like fuming pissed that we missed Johnny Lang. And then Aerosmith comes out and puts on like the worst concert I've ever fucking seen. Oh, I was so pissed.
But this is the same thing as soon as I find out how phenomenal Joywave is, I was like, motherfucker, why did we miss them?
Right.
Like, they were still playing when we came in.
Yeah.
But we didn't actually get to see them. We only heard them.
Right.
You know, and that little bit that I did hear, I was like, I need to investigate these people.
I think I got thrown off the stage because by the time we got there, it started to rain.
Right, because Mr. Wise was cut short.
Right.
But I didn't pick up back on Joywave until I was watching an episode of Animal Kingdom, and at the end of it, they were playing this song, and I sound hounded it, and it came up No Content by Joywave, and I was like, Jesus Lord, that's the band.
Yeah.
Because I was like, why is that sound And that's when I went into the Joywave hole. Yeah, because they're phenomenal.
Yeah.
I don't know how many good albums in a row they put out.
But yeah, I mean, it's just it's one of those odd things. Like I don't think for the most part, like I've never been to a concert where it's like one of those things. Like,
well, even like the Project Revolutions that we went to.
Yeah.
Those side stage things.
Well, yeah, but I'm not. That's not who I'm there to see.
Right, but
like,
they didn't even break out.
But like, I can't say I've ever been to a concert where like I went to go see this band. I literally went to go see this particular band, and everyone's like, who the fuck is that? The closest I could come is the Wallflowers.
Yeah.
And it's only because they hadn't hit yet.
Right.
You know.
I can say the Cranberries.
Yeah.
The Cranberries opened for Duran Duran before they hit it big.
Right.
And I can say I saw the Cranberries before they hit it big.
Right. But if I say it to people now, like, yeah, I saw the Wallflowers at like, you know, a small, you know, club, people are like, oh wow, that must have been pretty cool.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I can actually say the Cranberries were pretty cool.
Yeah. So I mean, it's that odd thing of like I've never gone to see somebody like you go if you say went and saw Gary Newman, not the opening act, who I still have no fucking clue what that shit was.
Speak Machine.
Yeah, or anything else. But
she was cool. I liked her.
But yeah, I went to go see Gary Newman, and people are like, "Who?
Yeah.
What?
What? You paid to see who?
Or
is that a comedy?
Somebody who knows music will be like, "The guy did Cars?"
Yeah, because that's all they remember.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
But there's nobody like that. Like I could say, like I've gone to see that's like I've even seen a few bands where the opening act was just as popular, if not more so. Like when I saw Motley Crue, Cheap Trick was the opening act.
Oh, that's cool.
When I saw Van Halen, Vince Neil was the opening act.
Oh wow.
I mean, it's
see, that's the thing. Like when I went to see 21 Pilots, I don't remember the name of the band that was the opening act. When I went to see Tears for Fears and Hall & Oates, no clue who that opening act was.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then what when we went to who opened for Toll? I can't even remember who opened for Toll. That's how bad it was.
Right.
But it was like, I get that.
But there's one band I only remember because like their name is so fucking weird. I thought it was like the coolest name ever because of how weird it was. The Screaming Cheetah Willies.
What? Who did they open for?
Meatloaf.
That says so much.
I was just like, and I saw them. I'm like, well, they weren't very good, but they've got a really cool fucking name. And
well, I saw.
Apparently, the lead singer went Christian, and he's a very popular Christian singer now.
Oh God, I bet he changed his name.
Yeah, because like my dad was like, hey. You remember that band you saw that opened for Meatloaf, like the Screaming Cheetah Willies? Like, yeah, he's a very popular Christian singer now. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Well, that's like we went to see this band called AWOL. Yeah. And there was a band called Genitorturers that opened for them. And it was like, who? And Genitorturers? Yeah. That is a very weird fucking name. Never figured out why it was called that. But
the one I love lording over people, though, is I went to go see Gwar.
Oh God, that must have. Well, you know what?
I've seen
Genitorturers would be kind of like Gwar.
I've seen Gwar 3 times, but the second time we saw them was at Metropole, and the opening act was a band I had never heard of called Lamb of God.
Okay.
And they are...
Lamb of God?
Lamb of God.
I've heard of them.
Yeah, so have I.
Yeah.
They're a huge thrash metal band.
Yeah.
Like, monstrous. Yeah. And I love lording over people. Yeah, I saw them in, 1998 at Metropole. I don't like them. I didn't like them when I saw them. It's
not your kind of music.
It's not my kind of music at all.
Yeah.
But, I mean, all those people are, fascinated. You saw Gwar 3 times?
Wait, who opened for Gwar the other 2 times?
I don't remember either time. I do remember
you're as bad as me.
The first time I saw them, though, the band that opened up, I wish I could remember their name. The lead singer kept smashing oranges over his head.
What?
Yeah, it was a weird thing where the lead singer, as he was singing, and I remember one of the songs was called 1 Down, 3 to Go. And it was about the Beatles.
Oh my God.
Yeah. But the entire set, he's just smashing oranges and lemons over his head. And by the end of their set, the place smelled like Pledge.
Oh my God. What is he trying to be, like Gallagher but on himself?
I have no idea.
A reverse Gallagher show.
I have no... But it was the oddest fucking thing, and I'm like, okay, I should have expected something to see Gwar because I'm wearing all white to make sure I get covered in goo.
Wow.
The second time we saw him was at Metropole, and that's the real story show.
Okay.
Because it's me and my buddy Jason.
Jason
Knoll.
Gotcha.
Jason's 250, all muscle.
Yeah.
I'm 275. And I'm beefy.
I'm beefy.
I'm not all Jason's rock solid. I'm just still I'm in good shape, but not
right.
that
not
type
Jason
of shape.
shape.
Yeah. And we figured out, so we watched Lamb of God,
Okay.
and we figure out, okay, this is how close we can be, but, that's the pit. We don't want to be in the pit.
No.
But we still want to be close enough that we can get sprayed with goo.
Right.
So we figured out, like, okay, we're good right here. We're going to stand right here. We're going to be fine. So Lamb of God finishes. They set up the stage for Gwar. Gwar comes out, and that entire floor becomes a mosh pit.
Oh, my God.
And we're in the middle of it.
Oh, my God.
And Jason played offensive line in high school. I played offensive line in high school.
Oh, God.
We both put our feet in the ground and still got pushed straight backwards by the mass of humanity.
Oh, my God.
Like, we got pushed straight back into a speaker stack that was behind us.
Oh, wow.
And we were just stuck there.
Yeah.
And Jason and I both agreed it was one of the scariest moments of our life.
Right.
Because we didn't want to be in that, and that we had zero control. We were just being pushed straight backwards. There was nothing we could do to stop it from happening.
I would have been panicking, man.
And did not get sprayed with goo that night.
Well, that sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, I paid good money to get sprayed with goo from,
Yeah. That's like back in the day going to Rocky Horror Picture Show
Yeah.
and not, yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, it was like, that was like that was the scariest moment. The second being holding back the massive humanity from you as you were enjoying Linkin Park.
I was just Korn. Korn was worse than Linkin Park.
Linkin,
it was the same show, but the Korn set.
For the Korn set though, we were down front.
Yes, because that's when we saw the girl lose half her face on the cement.
Right. And I saved the other girl from the exact same thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Because we were with Kitsy.
But then we moved back to the middle of the hill because we thought we were getting away from it.
Right.
Well, another mosh pit broke out behind us during Linkin Park.
Right, and I was pissed.
But you were right in front of me. Like, you were sitting in front of me, and I'm in a crucifix position with my feet dug into the ground, holding these people back as you are just like, yeah! Sing it, Chester! And Kitsy looked back with and her eyes got huge as she sees what I'm doing. And I got this guy leaning on my arm as I'm trying to hold back this pal. And he goes, dude, you are holding back a lot of people. I'm like, yeah, no shit. You
get them off me?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was I enjoyed the I barely remember Korn because of all the shit going on during Korn, trying to see Korn.
Right.
You know what I mean? And by the time Linkin Park came out, the fact that I was even further back pissed me off more because that's who I came to see.
And meanwhile, I'm just playing goalie. The entire
Kitsy
show.
actually joined in a few times. If you remember.
She did, yeah. But I'm playing.
Not me.
I was playing goalie, keeping people away from you that entire show.
But what came of that concert? I will never do lawn seats again. If I don't get a seat, I ain't going to that fucking place. Yeah, that show, I drew the line. No more lawn.
Yeah.
I'm not. Yeah, because first of all, you are not going to be able to handle it. And two, somebody would do what they did to that one chick, I'd be dead.
Yeah.
I would have died. I would have been like, just kill me. I'm done. Yeah, so a few great shows we went to together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I don't even want to get started on all the Nickelback concerts you fucking dragged me to.
But hold on.
God.
Nickelback was always opening for somebody else. They were never the main show.
But we had to go see it. Well, okay, I will give you when they were with Three Doors Down.
Right.
That one, not the one that he kept saying, my friends. Yeah. I'm talking about the other one. Wait, no, Puddle of Mud was with Linkin Park. What was the other ones that would open? Stayed. I will give you Stained open. Was with them one time, I think.
Right. Every time we went to go see. Every time I've seen Nickelback live 3 times. And every time I've seen them live, it was because I was there to see somebody else.
Right.
So the first time I saw them live, I went with my cousin Jane, and Nickelback was first. It was before they even hit big. So I was another band, like I said, I saw them before they hit. and then it was the Clarks, and Three Doors Down was the main act.
Okay.
It was like Nickelback came out, everyone was like, eh. The Clarks came out and tore the place fucking down.
Oh yeah, I believe that. That's a band I saw before they became famous. I used to watch them for free.
Yeah.
In the Latrobe Park.
So, but it was like this funny thing of like, and for those who don't know, like the Clarks are like, again, like I said, like Donny Iris is like rock royalty in Pittsburgh. The Clarks are just as big. Like, they were like the next wave of like.
Because they're from Latrobe.
They're from Latrobe. It's a Pittsburgh thing. Yeah. But so the Clarks come out, they tear the house down. After they're done, half the crowd leaves. Three Doors Down.
Poor Three Doors Down.
Three Doors Down. No shit. Three Doors Down came out. Half the crowd is gone. The rest of the crowd that's left is dead. This was like their first major tour. All you hear people yelling is, "Let's play Kryptonite. I want to go home." And the lead singer was even like, "I see how it is. Get up for the local boys, but give us nothing." And the crowd's like, "Yeah, that's right. Let's play Kryptonite. I want to go home."
That's so sad because they had such good songs back then.
So I've also seen Three Doors Down 3 times.
Yeah, me twice.
The second time I saw Nickelback was with Three Doors Down. Mm-hmm. The Three Doors Down was the main act.
I can't remember who the opening act was, though.
I can't remember either.
I can't.
And the second time, I think it was with Stained.
Like, yeah, Stained.
We were there to see Stained for the second time.
I think it was Nickelback, Stained, and then Linkin Park. No. Nickelback, Stained.
I can't remember.
There had to be somebody before Nickelback then. Because Stained was the opening act. Because remember, that's the one. No, was that the one where we were standing behind the people that when Stained came out, and the stage was dark and you couldn't see Aaron Lewis, but he's singing, and then he's like, "I don't know why I'm singing. You guys know all the words."
Yeah, that was the show.
And the guy in front of us was like, "Who the fuck are we listening to?" And I wanted to punch him. Like, why are you here to see Stained if you don't know who Stained is? Yeah. But I swear that wasn't the opening act.
Nickelback was the opening act.
Three Doors Down was the opening act.
No.
Not the opening act, the main headliner.
Maybe it was.
Because I know Stained didn't open that show. Because they were there to see the main act, not Stained.
I can't remember.
I just remember being pissed at that guy because he's telling his kid, "I don't know who this is."
Yeah, because I think we saw I think that was the show. We checked into a hotel. Kitsy checked. We went with Kitsy. Kitsy checked. We all three checked into a hotel.
Then it was Three Doors Down. Yeah. Three Doors Down was the headliner then. Yes.
And Kitsy was like before the end of the show. She's like, "Well, you guys ready to go?" Because we drove in her car.
Yeah, because she had to catch a flight early that morning, and we were. Yeah, she was like, "Can we go?" And I'm like, "They haven't even played Loser or Kryptonite yet. You want us to leave?" And as we're in the parking lot, I can hear them fucking playing it.
Yeah.
And I was pissed over that one.
Yeah.
So yeah, Stained was before Three Doors Down because I was like, how the fuck these assholes not know who the hell Stained is? Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, we did see. You saw him 3 times. I saw him twice.
Yeah.
Stained we saw.
I can't remember. I've seen Nickelback 3 times. But we were there to see somebody else, and Nickelback was the second act.
Right.
Because they played for like an hour and a half, something like
Right.
that. But then like the main act came out and played for an hour and a half. I can't.
Right.
It was a double bill, but I can't remember who that was.
Yeah.
I know we saw him once with Three Doors Down. We had to see him once with somebody else. Somebody else was the headliner. I don't remember who.
I can't remember because the other time we saw Stained was in the same place we saw Linkin Park together for the first time. Because remember, Puddle of Mud opened for Stained that time.
That was at the Palumbo Center.
Yes. Yeah. For Like Me, I can. Oh wait, no, El Nino opened for them. Puddle of Mud opened for Linkin Park. Or wait, no, wait. Seven Dust was supposed to open for Linkin Park, and they never showed. But there was 2 other bands on that bill.
El Nino played.
Okay, but there was 3 bands.
Right, it was like the X Fest.
Right.
So it was like Linkin Park, El Nino, and somebody else.
So with Stained, it was Puddle of Mud.
Puddle of Mud was with Stained, yeah.
Okay. No, I can't remember who the other band was.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. I mixed the 2 together.
All right, let's wrap this up. I'm sure people are tired of hearing our hijinks.
Yeah, who cares about our bands that we sing? Yeah. But feel free to share yours.
Yeah. Hold on. All right, let's wrap this up. So, first off, Ian should be back next week. I don't believe the Steelers play at home.
Yeah, you didn't even explain why Ian was gone. Poor Ian.
Poor Ian, yeah.
Afterthought.
Well, it's
wah, wah.
Wah, wah. Well, normally we record on Saturdays.
Correct.
I wanted to watch the AEW pay-per-view Saturday night.
We didn't even talk about that.
Yeah. And so I texted him Thursday, like, hey, can we record either Friday night after I get done with work or early Saturday afternoon? No response. Didn't get a response until Saturday, and he was like, and he had been working. He didn't get home.
He's a busy man.
He's a very busy man. He's like, I didn't get home until Friday, Friday at 1 in the morning. I'm like, wow. Okay.
Wow. Yeah. You would have still been up.
Yeah, but not to record a podcast.
No. Yeah. For response is what I was talking about.
So, well, I was like, that's fine. We'll record Sunday before the Steeler game. So as we're watching the pay-per-view, Ian texts me, and it's like, yeah, I got tickets to the Steeler game tomorrow.
Oh.
And I'm like, all right, I guess I'm recording Nancy. No big deal.
Yeah, how can you turn them down?
Yeah, so that's that. That's why Ian's not with us again this week. But I think the Steelers are playing at Indianapolis, so...
You'll be hearing them next week.
Yeah, you'll be hearing them next week.
Yeah, instead of me. Blah.
Yeah.
All you haters.
Yeah. So, but remember, there are a number of different ways you can reach out and touch us. You can send an email, like Thad does every week, and that email address is pittsburghnerd@yahoo.com. You can also find us on Facebook and Twitter, as long as Twitter is still around. That's just search Pittsburgh Nerd Podcast. We're very, very easy to find, and we are in a number of podcasting networks. You can find us on the Tangent Bound Network, the Weeby Geeks Network, or the Pod Breed Network. Just give them a Google search, and you can find all the other great podcasts they have to offer. And lastly, as always, I want to thank you, dear listener, for putting up with our hijinks and or shenanigans, whichever you prefer. And be a friend, tell a friend.
I like that. See something, say something.
Yeah. Be a friend, tell a friend. And on that note, the dreamer has awakened.
See ya.